What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another pregame video brought to you by the Jackal Den. I am your president and host, Daryl Keith Hendon, a.k.a. the fair weather rugby fan, 3 X's at the end, all that kind of thing. Yes, lineups have been announced as the Dallas Jackals head to take on those iron workers of New York up there in the big old rotten apple, as some would say. I've been there quite a few times. Wouldn't really say that about it, but definitely after coming away with the win 2 weeks ago against Atlanta, hopefully spirits are high for the boys. We will once again be having a viewing party at the Londoner in Addison tomorrow afternoon. Be there 30 minutes before kickoff. That's when everybody should be showing up. Rick Collins has been kind enough. Gratis. 100%. 100%. He's got 2 official Dallas Jackals pieces of merchandise he will be giving away at the live gathering there in Addison, Texas. Like I said, 1:30 p.m. is when everybody plans on showing up, so be there. And also, we still have, yes, we still believe, we still have these awesome scarves for sale via Rick Collins. We still have the merchandise store up. I mean, you can kind of see, I look fresh in the baseball cut. So we still got plenty of merch, guys. We're getting towards the end of the season. It would be great to be able to say we got some good merch out there for your favorite fan club of your favorite professional Major League Rugby side. So let's go ahead and start off like we always do by announcing the lineups for the home team. We are the visiting side, and that would be the Ironworkers of New York, a.k.a. formerly Rugby New York. James Semple, a Kiwi coach from Tauranga. He played for Counties Manukau and North Harbor, has quite a few North Harbor boys on this roster. He is a former assistant for the Blues there in Super Rugby there in Auckland. The weather for tomorrow, a comfortable 21 degrees Celsius, 69 degrees Fahrenheit, and partly cloudy there from Vernon Memorial Stadium, I believe is what it is called. The Ironworkers currently sit in 3rd place in the Eastern Division with a record of 6-0-7. They are a single point behind Old Glory DC for the 2nd spot there. Last week, they took quite the hiding at the hands of who's looking to be the unstoppable Legion of San Diego. Ma'anonu is, they're killing it out west out there in San Diego. Starfire Stadium always seems to be really packed for their games. But like I said, they took a loss. We were idle last weekend as a couple of the boys. I know Danny Christensen went back to Salt Lake City. Sam Gola spent some time in Atlanta. A couple of the other boys. Most of the Argentinian boys just stayed local. A couple of them, I think, got out of town a little bit just locally. But for the most part, most of our boys stayed here from what I saw online. So we will go ahead and start out with the front row for the Ironworkers of New York. The first prop will be Nick Mayhew. He is a former Blue and Brumby from New Zealand. The starting hooker will be USA Eagle Dylan Fawcett. And the other prop will be Caleb Geiger. He is a Concordia University grad and a former product of the Colorado Raptors. Captaining the side, USA Eagle from Marblehead, Massachusetts, will be Nate Brakely, with Hamish Dalzell, the former Canterbury Auckland player, cousin of Samuel Whitelock, the great legend there for the All Blacks there in New Zealand. Former Waikato Bull, Waikato Chief, Taranaki Bull, and did it look like he played? Yes, and Manawatu Turbo there in New Zealand. Brad Tucker will be the number 6 flanker. The other flanker will be a Kenyan, thanks to Kabui Butt, the Jackal Den member. It looks like Monati Akoei. He is a Kenyan rugby player. And anchoring it all is Pago Haini. Rockaway Beach native and former Iona University grad Connor Buckley will be at the scrum half position, with fly half going to former Highlander and Sunwolves and New Zealand U20s player Jason Emery. Samoan international Ed Fido will be at the left wing, and his counterpart is Brooklyn Hardiker. He is a New South Wales Australian product, played for Randwick there in Australia. Taiharangi Walden, the former Lander-in-Chief and Maori All Black, will be the number 12 center, and the number 13 will be Fasi Fuati, the former Bay of Plenty steamer there in New Zealand. And rounding it all out, Canadian international Andrew Coe. A 5-3 split coming off the bench for the Ironworkers with Kutztown grad Daquan Perry, North Harbor alum from the MPC, Tavita Langi, as well as Sam Davies, also a North Harbor product. Charlie Hewitt will be the flanker replacement with Brendan O'Connor, the former Crusader Blue and New Zealand U20s player, as the final forward replacement. Timaru, New Zealand native. I have been to Timaru. It's south of Christchurch. Sitting in a really cool hostel there, actually. Connor McManus, he is USA eligible, will be a scrum half replacement with longtime Houston Sabercat Sam Windsor. Like, that guy was there for like 4 years. I think he still might be their leading scorer, unless Kutzer has taken over for that. But Sam Windsor will be the fly half replacement with Nick Feeks, Aussie-born Nick Feeks, the former NOLA Gold player, being in the number 23 jersey. So, unfortunately, it looks like the injury to Nicholas Revel-Pitt in Atlanta was a PCL, so that will be it for the season for Nicholas. Still waiting on the return of Thomas Baravalle, the hooker, the former Benetton hooker. He broke his wrist against San Diego. I did speak to him a bit last night. He says he's almost back. He's feeling good. The rehab's going good, so hopefully we will get him back in coming weeks. But the front row will consist of Canadian international Liam Murray, Canadian U20s, and returning player of the week against Atlanta, Dewey Kutsia, the Canadian international, and former Los Puma, Juan Pablo Saiz, also player of the week last week. Future USA Eagle, also player for another guy that made first 15, Sam Gola, and his ever capable partner in Lucas Burr there at lock. No changes to the flankers. We get a gentleman who I have dubbed El Granjero. That would be our captain, Geronimo Gomez Vara. For anybody that wants to know what El Granjero means, it means the farmer. But instead of planting seeds, he's planting other teams' players on their butts. That's the reasoning behind that. With El Bigote himself, Conrad Aurora, being the other flanker, and anchored by leading tackler, guy heading into the Rugby World Cup on a tear, would be Adrian Boyson there at number 8. Pedro Imhoff, once again, will get the start at scrum half. A change at fly half, as we will be bringing in Alejandro Torres after a return, I believe, from injury. He will be starting in that important number 10 fly half position for us. The Uso himself, Louis Satama, will be starting at left wing, and his opposite will be Campbell Suits Johnstone on the right. New guy we brought in about a month ago. He was announced. He finally will be playing this week. Will be Thomas Kubila at center, and his partner will be the multiple try scoring Thomas Milanos. So 2 Thomases at center. And anchoring it all off will be Argentinian Marcos Moroni. A 5-3 split, once again coming off of the bench due to injuries with Baravalle, Revel-Pitt. We will get to see a man returning home from the Boogie Down Bronx. You know him. I love him. We all love him. Alex Tucci will be a replacement player with a kid from Beantown, Mr. Connor Robinson, as the hooker replacement, and making another appearance. Haven't seen him in quite some time, but the man I dubbed the Professor, Herman Achenbach, will be the other front row replacement. Carson Shoemaker will be, once again, a run-on for the flankers, as well as West Virginia U graduate Cam Nelson. The back replacements will be Hot Wheels Danny Christensen, JP Aguirre, USA qualified Argentinian-born JP Aguirre, and James Viafale, the Arizona Samoan product. So let's just take a look at what happened 2 weeks ago. We beat a team. Obviously, this is a team that they've gotten housed a couple of times since then. Atlanta is not looking good right now. But we seem to have done our best when Imhoff ran the damn ball. When we don't kick the ball away and we make teams think that that's what we're going to do, we seem to succeed a lot. But we also depended a lot on our front row play. Guys like Dewey Kutsia, who is having an absolutely amazing season. Liam Murray having an amazing season. Really hoping both of those guys get the call up. I know Liam has already got a couple of caps with Canada. I would love to see Dewey get some as well, along with Kyle Steeves. We'll have a lot of Canadian capped guys on our team. But it seemed to be that when we decided to go and run the ball coming out of the rucks, we had the most success. We had really good movement with the ball. When we weren't trying to kick it forward, we were trying to run it forward. Now, we did kick for territory very well last week and win. And I think we all knew going into half that we were going to win that game. Kind of the same way we felt about the DC game until it got called at halftime because of rain, obviously. But I think if we can continue with that, let Pedro run the ball a bit. I think it also helped having a guy like Natsa at fullback, who is typically a scrum half. So when Pedro did decide to run the ball, Natsa could come up and play, back him up at scrum half because he knew how to come out of the back of rucks anyways. So I think if we can continue to do that. Now, we are playing an extremely tough team, and I think the big key matchup is going to be Ed Fido and Campbell Johnstone. Now, if I was personally coaching the Jackals, I would switch it. I would have Luis Satama go up against Ed Fido, not just because they're both Samoan, but just because Luis Satama has a little bit more of a presence as far as big body tackling. Even though he is shorter than Campbell Johnstone, he's just a little bit more of a square body. I'm not worried about our centering combo. Thomas Kabila seems to do just well. He spent quite a bit of time with the Aguares 15. It's a big team in Argentina. And we already know Milanos' money at center. I'm still not 100% convinced on Moroni at fullback. I feel like he's not really the best under the ball. But, hey, he couldn't change my mind. I was 2 weeks ago sitting here thinking about, man, what a kind of a bonehead decision to put Natsa at 15, and he actually ended up being very, very good at 15 for a guy who told me it was like his second or third time ever playing fullback. So you never know. Maybe the coaches see something that I don't see. We shall see at the end of all of this. But really, really happy to see guys like Alex Tucci. A lot of you guys have asked, why hasn't he been getting playing time? Well, he's going to get it now with these injuries that we have out. Herman Achenbach, why have we not seen him? We're going to see him this weekend. I think we're going to see both of those guys. It's probably going to be pretty deep into the second half before we do, I think. But, I've got no question on their ability to be able to perform their job and their task when it's necessary and at the right time. I think our coaching staff has been really, really good with our front row boys and turned them into a dominant presence. I don't have any worries about Connor Robinson coming off and replacing Dewey in the second half because he is really, really good on his lineouts, and we don't have any problem at lock and flanker. Our locks and flankers are money for the league. So I don't see any problem with the forward pack. We are playing against a team that is heavily Kiwi-based, and the difference between Kiwi-style rugby and Argentinian-style rugby is the Kiwi style is a bit more flash, a lot more running. It's not so much kicking the ball away for territory. It's more like kind of trying to run the ball down. I'm not worried about our forward pack being able to keep up with that. I do worry about our backs a little bit. Luis Atama can tackle, but we don't really have a world-class wing on this team. We don't have any of those guys that are high-level international players at wing. Ed Fido is definitely an international presence at wing, but I'm hoping that our defensive ability in the forward pack can kind of minimize the damage he's able to do out wide with ball in hand. Because if he gets out wide with ball in hand, he's going to bowl through guys. It's just a matter of time. That's what happens when you're a world-class winger like that. You have that ability to really be a game changer with ball in hand, and Ed Fido is definitely one of those guys that can do that. So if we can kind of keep the ball away from him, we should be just fine. They do have a really solid kicker off the bench for them in the presence of Sam Windsor. Sam Windsor is amazing with the ball. He is getting up there in years, but he still can make things happen. Not a question that he can make things happen. But we shall see what's going on. This is a team that's desperate for points because they don't want to go on the road for the first playoff game. They want to be at home. They want to host it. With New England already clinching and San Diego already clinching, a lot of teams are going to get into desperation mode just trying to get those bitter points that they need. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for the Jackals to kind of play party spoiler, which is what DC Glory ended up doing towards the end of the season last year. They spoiled a lot of people's parties. Now, they didn't make the playoffs, but they beat some teams towards the end. I think if we can create some momentum going forward with some good key wins down the end, this is our last road game on the year. We've got 2 at home, and we're done for the season. So it should be a good turnout, hopefully at the Londoner pub there in Addison, and hopefully the New York fans come out and support on a Sunday afternoon there on a beautiful weather day. So with that being said, let's go Jackals. You know, if we can win another one, that's called a win streak, guys. We've never been on one before. I'd like to say that we have by the end of this season. But with that being said, I hope everyone has a great weekend. Obviously, you see here in the new studio, I have moved into the house, not totally unpacked yet. Jess moved in today with me, so we have got to get the house in order. But until then, I will talk to you guys very soon. Remember, this is the Jackal Den podcast made by a fan, me, for you, the fan you. Cheers, guys.